Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Martial Universe Season 6 based on novel. So let's start. A giant golden monument was quietly erected at that spot, while a golden halo slowly extended from within. Meanwhile, a powerful vibration faintly spread out, causing one to be wary of underestimating it. Lin Dong stared at that large golden monument for a while, before he finally retracted his gaze. At the same time, he slowly retracted the awe in his eyes. He could see countless names carved on that large golden monument. He guessed that those must have been the elite individuals who passed the test and obtained the Nirvana seal. Right now, there were quite a number of people crowding in front of the large golden monument. This is one of the most spectacular attractions in the Wanxiang city, and for most elite individuals who came to the city, they would seek to obtain the Nirvana seal. At the same time, they also wanted to use the opportunity to size up the other powerful practitioners, who came from everywhere else. Lin Dong's group walked along that towering large arena, until they finally found a spot that had a pretty good view of the large golden monument. No wonder it's termed a super city. Look at the number of elite individuals here. Seems like most of the powerful individuals in the ancient battlefield have gathered here. Little Martin scanned his surroundings, before he smiled and said. Lin Dong gently nodded his head, while he scanned his surroundings. The individuals who could brave the arduous journey and reach this city have mostly reached the Nirvana stage. Lin Dong's sweeping gaze eventually stopped at a spot nearest to the Nirvana monument. Promptly, he gently furrowed his brows. That was because he could sense several powerful auras at that spot. At the spot in front of them, there were three factions that attracted Lin Dong's attention. The one on the left had approximately a dozen over men. All of them had pretty powerful auras, and standing in the middle, there was a man dressed in silver clothes. That man was quite handsome, however, that carefree and greedy smile plastered over his face led one to understand that this man was a vicious and cruel person. Of course, in Lin Dong's opinion, he had the right to be so. Based on the aura that faintly seeped out from his body, this man actually did not lose out to the two generals from the Great Gan Empire that he had met previously. Evidently, he was quite a fearsome individual. With regards to the faction in the middle, there was a dazzling and alluring figure dressed in white. That was the focal point of the entire city. This girl has a rather beautiful face, however, her whole body gave off an forbidding icy cold aura. Looking at a distance away, she seemed just like an unmelting millennial ice. Obviously, she completely disregarded the various happenings around her, while her beautiful eyes locked onto the large golden monument. Green silk poured down, just like a waterfall, while her beautiful and slim waist curved a beautiful curve, causing most people around her to drool. On the right, there was another group of men. These men were dressed in different clothes, while standing in front of them was a man dressed in black clothes. That man had his hands behind his back and his facial expression was calm, just like a desolate spring. One could not discern the bottom of his expression. Interesting, Lin Dong's eyes swept across those three factions as he softly muttered to himself. Those three factions did not look simple at all. In fact, he was clearly aware that factions like these were not the only ones in the Wanxiang city. The ones on the left should be members from the Silverwood Empire. They are also a high-ranked empire, and the man leading them is called Yin Senator. It is reputed that he has reached the peak of 3 Yuan Nirvana stage. His attitude is extremely arrogant, and he has quite a reputation in Wanxiang city. Su Kuei softly said as he introduced him. A truly irritating fellow. Standing aside, Su Ruo softly added on. Upon hearing her words, Lin Dong glanced curiously at Su Ruo. Immediately, her cheeks turned red as she lowered her head in a cute fashion. Ha ha, That fellow met with Xiao Ru before and pestered her a few times. He is indeed a little irritating. Su Kuei smiled as he elaborated. Seems like Xiao Ruo is pretty attractive. Lin Dong chuckled as he stared at that lady's beautiful and red face, before he involuntarily teased her. Su Ruo's originally blushed face turned even more red after Lin Dong's tease. Immediately, she raised her beautiful limbs and hid her face. That lady dressed in white is called Mu Hanyu. She has quite a reputation, don't look down on her. Backing her is a super empire. Therefore, most people who lust after her ended up in a rather sorry state. Su Kuei once again diverted the topic, before he pointed at that dazzling white figure and said. Another member from a super empire. Lin Dong was somewhat startled as he stared at that alluring figure dressed in white. This is indeed the Wanxiang city. It turns out that they could easily encounter a member of the super empire. The ones on the right are fairly particular. They are not from a single empire, but rather an alliance of various empires. Even though their empires are not famous, every one of them is quite powerful. In particular, that man dressed in black, it is reputed that he previously obtained an inheritance from an ancient sect. Furthermore, his strength is at the peak of the 3-yuan nirvana stage. Previously, a man from a high-ranked empire, who tried to oppose him directly destroyed him alone. Oh? Lin Dong gently lifted his brows and glanced at that black-clothed man, with his hands behind his back. It seems like he finally understood just how many hidden tigers and dragons there were in Wanxiang City. Since they are here, it is likely that they are gunning after the Nirvana seal. I wonder what levels would these guys obtain? Su Kuei curiously asked. Lin Dong gently nodded his head, with a gentle curiously in his mind. He was also curious to find out how these powerful-looking individuals would fare in the face of the Nirvana monument test. Right now, with the passage of time, there were more and more people gathering in front of the Nirvana monument. Along the way, some individuals tried the test. However, most of them only obtained a human Nirvana seal, and it was hardly spectacular. After observing for a while, Lin Dong realized that the people who could obtain a Nirvana seal were mostly at the 2-yuan Nirvana stage. 2-yuan Nirvana stage will allow one to obtain a human Nirvana seal. Typically speaking, once one advances to 3-yuan Nirvana stage, one can barely obtain a Earth Nirvana seal. When I first took the test, I was only at 2-yuan Nirvana stage. Therefore, I could only obtain a human Nirvana seal. Once I test myself again, I should be able to replace it with a Earth Nirvana seal. Of course, even after I obtain a Nirvana seal, my ranking would be near the bottom. Standing beside him, Su Kuei said. Lin Dong smiled, while his eyes focused on that large Nirvana monument. It seems like each time someone passed the test, their names would appear on the Nirvana monument. However, most of their names were at the bottom. It seems like the higher your name is, the more powerful you are. When he thought of this point, Lin Dong's attention involuntarily shifted up. Moments later, in the middle of that large monument, he saw two familiar names. Zhu Tianhua, Mu Huang. It seems like the two generals from Great Gan Empire were around the above-average group in the Earth level. As Lin Dong stared at that Nirvana monument, a commotion suddenly erupted in the arena. As he continued to observe, he saw Yin Sen, from the Yinmu Empire, take charge and make the first move, before he stood arrogantly in front of the Nirvana monument. As the most outstanding existence in the arena, the appearance of Yinmu immediately caused many people to turn their attention towards them. In fact, even that lady dressed in white, who had been generally ignoring her surroundings, shifted her attention. Under the attention of the crowd, Yin Sen stood in front of that large Nirvana monument, before he extended his palm and placed it gently above that ice-cold monument. His figure stood still. In the next moment, an extremely powerful yuan power vibration violently gushed out from within Yin Sen's body, and caused shock to surface on the onlookers' faces. Furthermore, as that powerful yuan power vibration gushed out, a golden glow erupted from the Nirvana monument, which started from Yin Sen's palm, before it quickly traveled upwards. In mere moments, he had directly exceeded the limits of human level and directly charged into earth level. Furthermore, it continued to charge upwards. Amidst the chorus of the crowd, it finally stopped. Lin Dong saw that amidst that coursing golden glow, Yin Sen's golden-plated name finally surfaced. As he lifted up his head, he realized that there were only 8 names in front of him. That is to say, this Yin Sen was actually ranked 9th amongst the earth level. This ranking was several times more powerful than the Zhu Tianhua duo. 9th ranking amongst earth category. Beside the Nirvana monument, a series of chorus erupted. Evidently, this was a pretty high ranking. Mu Hanyu is about to make a move too. Just as the crowd were in awe over Yin Sen's ranking, that beautiful snow-colored figure, dressed in white, finally stepped forward. He, Beauty Lin, do you have the ability to surpass me? As Yin Sen stared at Mu Hanyue's beautiful and alluring figure, he involuntarily licked his lips before he asked. That lady dressed in white casually glanced at him. However, she did not bother about him. Instead, she stopped right in front of the Nirvana monument, before she extended her beautiful snow-white hands. When he saw that Mu Hanyu did not even bother about her, Yin Sen immediately pursed his lips. Though he felt somewhat frustrated, he did not push his luck. After all, he knew who was backing Mu Hanyu. While she was the focal point of the entire crowd, a golden glow extended from Mu Hanyue's palm, before a golden glow swiftly coursed up the Nirvana monument. Similarly, it successfully broke through to the earth level category, before it continuously surpassed the names carved on it. Finally, while Yin Sen's looked on hideously, it even surpassed his name. 8 in earth level. 1 rank higher than Yin Sen. Mu Hanyue's results once again sparked a commotion. This result was pretty decent. At the very least, she could be considered as an elite member even in the entire ancient battlefield. Not simple individuals. Lin Dong softly chuckled. With regards to this Nirvana monument, his interest in it was growing. Promptly, his attention turned towards that man dressed in black clothes, with his hands behind his back. This man had been silent since the start, and he was not overly shocked by Yin Sen and Hanyue's results. I wonder how high that guy will rank amongst the earth category. Lin Dong somewhat curiously looked at him, while he muttered to himself. After Lin Dong spoke, that man dressed in black clothes slowly stepped forwards. Finally, under the attention of the entire crowd, he stood in front of the Nirvana monument. This black-clothed man clearly possessed quite a strong reputation within the Wanxiang city. Hence, the countless number of gazes from around turned towards him when he appeared. Their eyes were filled with a curious expression. Mu Hanyue's pretty eyes also turned towards that black-clothed man. She had heard of the latter's reputation. However, she was unaware of just what kind of level this ruthless character, who had once destroyed a high-rank empire all by himself, would actually reach in this Nirvana monument's test. Yin Sen narrowed his eyes slightly. The expressions in the eyes that he used to stare at the black-clothed man was a little unnatural. By relying on his sharp instinct, he was able to sense a kind of faint dangerous feeling from this black-clothed man. This kind of feeling was something that he would only normally sense from the top 5 people of the Earth-grade Nirvana seal. Is that fellow really that strong? This kind of feeling caused Yin Sen's heart to feel a little displeased. Based on his domineering nature, he naturally did not like to see others surpassing him. That black-clothed man focused his eyes as he stood in front of the Nirvana monument. He slowly extended his hand and made contact with the Nirvana monument. After a brief deep silence, a bright golden light suddenly erupted from his palm. The golden light this time around was actually much stronger than Yin Sen and Mu Hanyu earlier. The golden glow appeared before it shot upwards at a shocking speed, while numerous exclamations rushed out from the surroundings in a ripple-like manner. Swoosh swoosh. The golden glow swiftly flew past and directly adapted a stance like no one was able to block him, as he rampantly charged into the Earth grade category. He passed by countless individuals before it entered the top 10. After which, he surpassed Yin Sen and Mu Hanyu almost instantly. He is already at the 7th spot. He actually shows signs of still being able to charge forward. This fellow is actually this strong. Numerous exclamations were emitted almost immediately when everyone saw this situation. Under this exclamation, that golden glow had surpassed Yin Sen and Mu Hanyu. Instead, it leaped upwards at a slower pace. Each time he leaped successfully, he would cause the surroundings to erupt noisily. 5th. The golden glow flashed and leaped past the 6th name, and forced the 5th name downwards. Only at this moment did the golden glow gradually become dim. Finally, it agglomerated into 2 large golden-colored words. Chang Ling. Earth category, 5th. Dense soft private conversations spread apart suddenly along with the surrounding noise, as everyone looked at the name which was frozen. It stirred quite a great commotion. Yin Sen's expression was a displeased one. He coldly snorted. Clearly, he was unhappy at this person having more limelight than him. Mu Hanyue's icy cold eyes also flickered at this moment. She similarly did not expect that Chang Ling was actually able to directly charge to the 5th spot of the Earth category. This ability could be compared with the prized fighters from some super sects. Is this person called Chang Ling? He is indeed quite strong. Lin Dong also carried a surprise on his face as he watched this scene. From the reactions of those around, Lin Dong was aware that the result Chang Ling had obtained was quite incredible. It is indeed very great. He is actually able to charge to the 5th of the Earth category. This fellow, Sukue nodded and sighed. Those 4 in front are all competent fighters from super sects, and they are all extremely powerful. Unexpectedly, this Chang Ying was actually this close to them. Incredible indeed. Lin Dong smiled. The smile in his heart became increasingly dense. He really wanted to know just what level he would be able to reach at this Nirvana monument. Chang Ying raised his head and looked at the position he had obtained from in front of the Nirvana monument. He frowned slightly as if he felt a little displeased. However, he also understood that reaching this stage was already his limit. Immediately, he turned and returned to his comrades. A heated tide continued to remain in the large arena after the ordinary remnant test was completed. Quite a number of people had some envy within their eyes. It had been almost a year since they had entered this realm. Before heading to this place, they were the outstanding talent from their own empires. However, they must understand that even geniuses are divided into levels. Many ordinary experts gradually became mediocre in this place. Of course, there are also some geniuses who had become increasingly outstanding amidst the harsh competition. They experienced many hardships and gradually became someone great. We should also go and try. Sukue was also ready to give it a go at this moment. Hence, he turned to Lin Dong's group and said. Lin Dong smiled and nodded. After which, his group walked out and directly headed for the enormous Nirvana monument. Their group naturally did not attract as much attention as Yin Sen and the 2 others. Hence, there were naturally not many people paying attention to them. Everyone thought that they were merely a group of ordinary people. Sukue took the lead to touch the Nirvana monument. His 3 yuan Nirvana stage strength also completely erupted at this moment. Golden light surged. After charging forward for a while, it finally charged into the Earth category, allowing him to heave a sigh of relief. Although his ranking was far inferior to Yin Sen, being able to charge into the Earth category was already quite a significant result for him. Su Kuei looked at his own result before parting his mouth to laugh. It seems that his training during this period of time was not wasted. Big Brother is really incredible. Su Ruo was not stingy with her praises. Her face was filled with a joyous smile. Hee, little Su Ruo, if this result can be considered as incredible, does it mean that Big Brother Yin Sen has become the Princess Charming in your eyes? Su Ruo's voice had just sounded when a teasing laughter that spoilt the mood was suddenly transmitted over. Everyone turned their heads before finally seeing Yin Sen walking over with a smile on his face. His gaze continued to sweep over Su Ruo's lovely body, causing her to feel disgusted. You? Su Ruo's pretty face immediately flashed with fury when she saw Yin Sen walking over. Yin Sen, you should clean your mouth. Su Kuei's expression sunk as she coldly cried out. I heard that you were being hunted by the Wind Cloud Empire. Why have you returned? Do you want to come to my side? Little Su Ruo and I are a perfect match. She will not lose out by becoming mine. Yin Sen smilingly said. His face was covered by a domineering smile. Don't you agree, little Su Ruo? Yin Sen asked as he planned to stand together with Su Ruo. Swoosh. Just as Yin Sen was about to step forward, a black figure that contained an extremely great pressure was suddenly transmitted. It directly shook the entire sky and ruthlessly struck towards Yin Sen's throat. This sudden attack caused Yin Sen to be slightly startled. However, he was also quite strong. His body flashed and he dodged it. His gaze was a little dark and solemn as he looked at Little Flame, who was holding a metal rod, which was being pointing at him. The expressions of those experts from the Silverwood Empire behind Yin Sen changed drastically upon seeing this situation. Strong Yuan power flowed out before they stared menacingly at Lin Dong's group. Su Ruo also took a small step back upon witnessing this atmosphere, which had suddenly become tensed. Su Ruo also took a small step back and stood beside Lin Dong without realizing it. Do you have the ability to resolve the issues with Wind Cloud Empire? Someone who can only boast is not a man. Lin Dong smilingly looked at Yin Sen and said. Yin Sen's expression changed slightly. Although he was domineering, he was not a fool. The Wind Cloud Empire was a genuine super empire. Based on his current strength, it was naturally impossible for him to face off against them. Those words spoken earlier were undoubtedly just an attempt to take advantage of Su Ruo. Why? From the looks of it, you have already found someone to protect you. However, I'm afraid that this person who has caught your eyes is just like the wax on a silver gun, pleasant on the eye but of no use. Yin Sen laughed coldly. His words were quite vicious. Su Ruo was so furious that her small face became red. She was just about to burst out in anger when Lin Dong in front of her simply waved his hand. Little Martin by the side also lazily said, Do you want to throw this fellow out? There was already quite a number of people near the Nirvana monument who had been attracted by the atmosphere. Even Mu Hanyu and Chang Ling had thrown their gazes over. All of them involuntarily became startled when they heard Little Martin's words. Their gazes were a little surprised as they carefully observed Little Martin after having heard these words. Those eyes of theirs were a little unique as they slowly looked at the casual Little Martin. Regardless of how hateful the mouth of this Yin Sen was, he was at the very least a person who had charged into the top 10 of the Nirvana Earth stage. It was likely that one would not be able to throw him out without some ability. Their eyes swept over Little Martin's body, attempting to probe Little Martin's background. However, regardless of how they probed, they was unable to sense anything unique. Throw me. Yin Sen had clearly become completely infuriated by little Martin's words as he laughed. There might perhaps be a handful of people in the Wanxiang city who are qualified to say such words to me. However, your group is not amongst them. Su Kuei, the next time you wish to find a support, please find a smarter person. Otherwise, you will only get into more and more trouble. How troublesome. Little Martin gently clenched his hand. His handsome face revealed a smile. The heart of Su Kuei by the side trembled upon seeing little Martin's manner. He had personally saw little Martin finish off Yang Mo from the Wind Cloud Empire within a few minutes. Let's do the important things first. Lin Dong suddenly waved his hand, just when little Martin was planning on finishing off this hateful fellow on the spot. After which, he turned his body. His eyes stared at the Nirvana monument in front of him. He placed one hand behind his back, as he extended his right palm, and gently touched the icy cool monument. Perhaps it was because of little Martin's somewhat unique words from earlier, but the surrounding people, including Yin Sen, Mu Hanyu and Chang Ling turned their eyes towards Lin Dong at this moment. From the scene in front of them, it seemed that Lin Dong was the leader of this group. If they wished to tell if these people really had the ability, or if they were acting, all they needed to do was to look at the subsequent test result to get an accurate answer. Yin Sen's eyes revealed an icy cold smile. Coldness flowed within his eyes. He had already made up his mind. After the test result of Lin Dong's group come out, he would personally attack, and let these ignorant people, who had just arrived in the Wanxiang city, to know just what kind of price they must pay by speaking such arrogant words in this place. Lin Dong's body did not move in front of the countless number of gazes. His hand had just touched the icy cold surface of the monument when it shook. He could clearly sense an extremely unique energy spreading out from within that Nirvana monument, scanning every part of his body. The Yuan power within Lin Dong's body, and the mental energy within his Niwan palace actually began to show signs of rippling under this kind of scanning. The scanning continued. This kind of scanning strength was quite unique. It was actually able to vaguely probe at the mysterious stone talisman within Lin Dong's body. Even the ancient universe formation and the devouring ancestral symbol were discovered. This caused Lin Dong to be slightly startled. A thought passed through his mind and a sudden strength erupted from within that mysterious stone symbol and the devouring ancestral symbol. It directly shattered the scanning strength as it did so. Buzz. Waves after waves of bright golden glow suddenly surged from Lin Dong's palm, which was touching the stone monument, after the scanning strength disappeared. The intensity of the golden glow was so dense that it was similar to that of a gold-colored sun. The golden glow shone. All the faces around it had become shocked at this moment. Swoosh. Golden light spat out from Lin Dong's hand. With a swoosh sound, it shot out along its surface. After which, it began to climb manically in front of the many shaken gazes. Resplendent golden light erupted from the Nirvana monument. When the golden light erupted, not only did it capture the attention of everyone within the large arena, numerous astonished gazes were casted from outside of the large arena as well. Captivating all the eyeballs, the surging golden light charged into the earth category like a hot knife through butter, and directly broke through the top 10 rankings. Because of Mu Hanyu and Chang Ling's advancements, Yin Sen's ranking had dropped from the 9th to the 11th rank. And now, when the golden light charged mightily into the top 10 rankings, Yin Sen's name was flung ruthlessly to the 12th rank. Upon seeing this, Yin Sen's facial expression became exceptionally unsightly. He had heard of Mu Hanyu and Chang Lin's reputations. Therefore, even though the fact that they surpassed him on the Nirvana monument pissed him off, he still could accept it. However, given the current situation, how could some new guy who appeared out of nowhere surpass him? At this moment, Yin Sen started to suspect if the Nirvana monument was spoilt. However, no matter how unsightly Yin Sen's facial expression was, the flickering golden light did not show any sign of disappearing abruptly. Even after surpassing Yin Sen's name, it did not show any sign of slowing down and continued climbing up. Under the surrounding commotion, the golden light pushed down Mu Hanue's name as well. At this moment, the white-robed Mu Hanue's beautiful eyes slightly froze and he looked at the young fellow, who was standing before Nirvana monument and touching it with a single hand, with his uber-black eyebrows slightly knitted. Not far away, a slight surprised look even appeared on Chang Lin's peaceful face at this moment. His initial facial expression, which was entertained by the commotion, was replaced by traces of solemnness. That was because he saw the golden light did not extinguish even after surpassing Mu Hanue's name. Instead, it continued to climb with an unhurried speed. It's already at the 7th rank. A wave of rumbling sounds erupted around the Nirvana monument. All the onlookers were looking in or at the golden light, which had already climbed to the 7th rank. Indistinctly, the flowing blood in their bodies seemed to show sign of boiling. It had been quite a while since these onlookers saw a dark horse that could disrupt the rankings like this. Brother Lin Dong is so powerful. Su Ru's face was pleasantly surprised, while her big eyes were filled with adoration. In her eyes, Su Kuei's result was already very good. However, it paled in comparison to Lin Dong's result. On one side, Su Kuei was nodding his head excitedly. Initially, he predicted that it would be quite a good result if Lin Dong could reach the 10th rank. However, he did not expect latter's charge into the rankings to be so ferocious. It's still too early to be excited. Little Martin laughed indifferently. He clearly understood Lin Dong's capabilities. If Chang Ling could reach the 5th rank, Lin Dong would absolutely hit a higher rank than him. After hearing Little Martin's words, which did not seem to be a joke, the pleasantly surprised look on Su Ruo's face became more obvious. In contrast, Su Kuei was gradually becoming emotionally moved. He could not help but purse his lips. Did this fellow really come from a low-ranked empire? This kind of capabilities was enough for Lin Dong to match up against some of the elite fighters from those super empires. It's already at the 6th rank. Just as Little Martin finished his sentence, an uproar erupted again. One could see that the golden light unhurriedly surpassed the 6th rank. It's moving again, and it's going to surpass Chang Ling. Just as the commotion broke out, another one suddenly broke out again. The onlookers saw the flickering golden light started to climb again. This time around, it even pushed down the 5th rank, which Chang Ling had not occupied for long. Brother Chang Ling, this fellow, is not simple. We do not know where he is from as well. A man beside Chang Ling concurred solemnly as he saw this scene. He's indeed not simple. Chang Ling nodded his head slowly while his facial expression was solemn as well. In a soft voice, Chang Ling continued, "There are really hidden dragons and crouching tigers in the ancient battlefield. Every now and then, there will be such seclusive dark horses emerging. We don't even know which rank he can actually achieve. At the top of the rankings, they are the elite fighters of the 4 super empires. Reportedly, those fellows have even fought with 4 Yuan Nirvana stage practitioners before," that man beside Chang Ling said. "I am curious too." Chang Ling raised his head and looked at the back of the young fellow in front of the Nirvana monument. He wanted to see if the guy who had just surpassed him could challenge the elite fighters of those super empires. The golden light was glittering on the Nirvana monument. Unconsciously, there were more and more people being attracted to this area. Eventually, these people stared at the slow-climbing golden light with a shocking look on their faces. That golden light was gradually getting nearer to the 4th rank of the Earth category. The noisy vicinity of the Nirvana monument oddly became much more quiet. Numerous gazes were staring at the golden light, which was getting closer and closer to the fourth rank. It was as if everyone's hearts were being pulled and they did not even dare to breathe. It has been surpassed. Suddenly, a hoarse alarmed voice rang across the area. All the onlookers' hearts tugged firmly. That was because they saw the slow climbing golden light genuinely surpassing the fourth rank and replacing it. It's not stopping. However, after the fourth rank was being replaced, they numbly discovered that the golden light did not stop. Immediately, some people could not help but give off moaning sounds. Following which, just like before, the golden light continued to climb. Instead of climbing rapidly, the golden light was climbing with a slow and steady speed. Finally, under numerous stupefied gaze, a dumbstruck look gradually appearing on everyone's faces. The third rank and the even second rank were surpassed. Earth category, second. A cool breeze swept across the area. In front of the Nirvana monument, numerous onlookers' facial expressions froze and these onlookers stared unbelievably at this scene. Clearly, they could not imagine that an unfamiliar newcomer could reach such a high rank. The top 4 rankings belonged to the elite fighters of those super empires. These fighters were outstanding and reputable individuals in Wanxiang City. However, right now, they had been easily surpassed by an unknown youth. The onlookers could imagine the huge uproar that would be created in the Wanxiang City if news of this was to spread. At this moment, everyone's breathing became heavy and their eyes became boiling hot suddenly. They stared firmly at the flickering golden light. They knew that if that golden light went up by one more rank, Lin Dong would reach the peak of the Earth category. This scene would cause everyone to go crazy. While numerous hurried breathing noises could be heard all around, even cool-headed individuals like Mu Hanyu and Chang Ling could not help but clench the fists in their sleeves tightly. They clearly knew if that was what happened next, an enormous commotion would be created in this city. Under numerous attentive gazes, the golden light flickered. However, it did not continue to climb like what everyone had expected. Instead, the golden light strangely stopped for a while before it started to shrink. Eventually, the golden light formed 2 words. Lin Dong. Sigh. When that name appeared, sighs were given off by the onlookers in front of the Nirvana monument at almost the same time. They must be disappointed by the fact that they could not see the most stunning scene. However, these sighing sounds lasted for a while, before a sky-trembling commotion erupted once again on the large arena. Countless boiling eyes converged onto Lin Dong. It must be that they wanted to see if this mysterious individual, who surpassed the 3 super empires' elite fighters, possessed remarkable abilities. Earth category, second. Little Martin took a glance at Lin Dong's back and furrowed his eyebrows. He is extremely aware of Lin Dong's potential. He knew that Lin Dong must have repressed the surging golden light at the last moment. Otherwise, he was definitely capable of charging towards the first rank. The infantry usually bear the brunt of attack, however, little Martin was quick-witted. After thinking for a while, he knew Lin Dong's apprehension. Even though they had a powerful lineup, there was no need to have such a high profile in this kind of place. Withholding a trump card on hand always brought about unexpected benefits. Yin Sen was looking at that golden name with stiffness in his face. The 2 words Lin Dong was pressuring him until the point that he was unable to breathe. If Lin Dong only reached the 5th or 6th rank, he might worry, but not until this extent. However, unfortunately, Lin Dong's final result was not a 5th rank or 6th rank, but a 2nd rank instead. Yin Sen was no fool. He understood what the rank symbolized. He also clearly understood that this youth, who had just surpassed the 3 other super empires' elite fighters, was no pushover. Mu Hanyue's beautiful eyes was fixated on the figure, who was standing tall and straight like an upright spear. She pursed her red luscious lips and there was an unusual expression in her eyes. She displayed such behavior not because she was attracted to Lin Dong. Instead, it was an instinctive behavior that women portrayed when they saw an extremely outstanding man. Little Martin, both of you should give it a go too. Under the countless attentive gazes, Lin Dong turned around with a warm smile on his face. He did not exude the mightiness that helped him surpass the other three Super Empire's elite fighters. However, at the same time, no one dared to despise this fellow in front of them. Little Martin shot a glance at Lin Dong and did not reject the latter. He knew that if they wanted to have a footing in a city like Wanxiang City, where geniuses and hidden dragons and crouching tigers were everywhere, keeping a low profile would only bring them endless troubles. Little Martin walked out and put his palm indifferently onto the ice-cold Nirvana monument. Just as everyone's gazes were shifted in the direction of Little Martin, the resplendent golden light had already erupted. With a swoosh and under the alarmed gazes of the onlookers, the golden light barbarically charged into the top 10 rankings. Finally, it stopped beneath Lin Dong and replaced the third rank. Then, the golden light coagulated and formed two words. Lin Diao. A category, third. The whole process took less than 5 seconds. All the onlookers on the large arena became speechless when they saw Little Martin walked back while wiping his palms apathetically even before the golden light disappeared completely. After Little Martin walked back, Little Flame grinned and walked forward and put his big hands onto the monument. Buzz. Under those dumbstruck gazes, the golden light began to surge. Eventually, it broke through the top 10 rankings like a hot knife through butter. Finally, it stopped beneath Little Martin before the golden light started to coagulate. Lin Yang. Earth category, fourth. At this moment, everyone's facial expressions froze. They looked at hovering golden words and their heads were spinning involuntarily. Less than 10 minutes, the Earth category's second to fourth ranks had found their new respective owners. Phew. At this moment, the cool-headed Mu Hanyu heaved a deep breath of aroma and looked at the three figures standing before the Nirvana monument with her beautiful eyes. Monopolizing 3 ranks out of the top 4 rankings. Even the 4 great super empires in Wanxiang City could not have attained such achievement. However, this achievement had been attained by that 3 strangers. These fellows. Who are they? Mu Hanyu pursed her red lips tightly. She knew that the Wanxiang City would surely become increasingly fiery with the appearance of these 3 persons. This video will end here.